At $2 million in revenue, most practice owners do not have a data problem. They have a noise problem. Your EHR spits out reports nobody reads. Your billing company sends a monthly statement you skim. Your marketing agency sends a dashboard with 14 charts and no answer. And you still cannot tell me right now whether this week was a good week. I am a practicing vascular surgeon and I own a multi-location vein practice, so I know exactly how that feels. In the next 10 minutes, I am going to give you the short list, 5 numbers you should see every single week at $2 million, what each one actually tells you, and the decision you make when it moves. Not a dashboard, 1 page. Print it, tape it to the wall, and stop opening the other reports. Start with why your profit and loss statement is not the answer. The P&L is a rear view mirror. It arrives weeks after the month close. It is built for your accountant and the IRS, and it tells you what already happened after you can do anything about it. By the time a bad month shows up in your financials, the cause of that bad month was 90 days ago. The numbers I am about to give you are leading indicators. They move first. They tell you what next quarter looks like while you can still change it. That is the whole point. You are not trying to measure the past more precisely. You are trying to see the future early enough to act. Number 1, new patient consults, booked and kept, counted weekly, not leads, not form fills, not calls, consults that showed up and sat in your chair. This is the top of everything. Every dollar of revenue in your practice starts as a new patient who booked and arrived. Count it weekly because monthly hides the problem. A 4-week average smooths over the 2 dead weeks that would have told you something broke. Split it 2 ways. By source, so you know whether it came from referrals, from paid marketing, or from your own database, and by location, if you have more than one. When this number drops 2 weeks in a row, that is not variance. That is a signal, and it hits your bank account about 60 days later. One more thing on this number, count the kept consult, not the booked one. If you count bookings, a front desk under pressure will book anybody, and your show rate quietly rots while the report stays green. Measure the thing you actually want. Number 2, consult to treatment conversion. Of the new patients who sat down with you or your provider, what percentage started treatment? This is the single most expensive number in the practice because you already paid for that patient. The marketing spend is spent, the chair time is used, the staff time is gone. If you convert 1 in 3 instead of 1 in 2, you did not lose a percentage point. You threw away 1/3 of your marketing budget. And here is why this matters more than adding volume. Improving conversion costs nothing. You do not buy more ads. You change how the consult is structured, what gets said about cost, and what happens in the 72 hours after the patient walks out undecided. Number 3, average revenue per treated patient. Take collections for the period and divide by patients who started treatment. This tells you whether your case mix is drifting, whether you are underselling the full plan of care, and whether your fee schedule has quietly fallen behind. It is also the fastest lever you own. If you want more revenue, you have 3 doors: more patients, better conversion, or higher value per patient. The first one costs money. The second 2 cost attention. Most owners at $2 million spend all of their energy on door number 1 and never look at the other 2. Track average case value by provider as well. 2 providers seeing the same patients with very different averages is a coaching conversation, not a mystery. And check it against your fee schedule at least twice a year. Costs move every year. Fee schedules in most practices I see do not. Number 4, cash collected against what you produced plus days in accounts receivable. These 2 travel together. Production is a promise. Collections are reality. The gap between them is where practices quietly bleed. Days in AR tells you how long your money sits with payers and patients before it reaches your account. When that number climbs, something specific broke. Claims are going out late, denials are not being worked, patient balances are not being chased, or someone is credentialed wrong and every claim from that provider is bouncing. You do not need to know billing to manage this. You need to see the number weekly and ask one question out loud. What changed? A billing team that knows the owner looks every Monday behaves differently than one that does not. Number 5, capacity used. Of the provider hours and procedure room hours you paid for this week, what percentage were actually filled with revenue producing work? This is the number almost nobody tracks, and it is where the margin hides. At $2 million, your fixed costs are real. Lease, staff, equipment, all of it runs whether the room is full or empty. An empty chair does not just fail to earn, it costs. Watch this, alongside cancellations and no-shows, because those two are what turn a full schedule into a half-empty day. If your capacity used is low, adding marketing spend is the wrong move. You do not have a demand problem. You have a schedule problem. And marketing will only make it more expensive. Ask for it as a simple percentage, not a heat map. 81% this week, 74% last week, that is enough to act on. Now, one above all of them. Weeks of payroll in the bank. Cash on hand divided by your weekly operating cost. Not a growth metric, a survival metric. Practices do not fail because they are unprofitable on paper. They fail because they run out of cash at the wrong moment, usually during expansion, usually right after a big equipment purchase or a new location build out. Know this number before you sign anything. If you only ever look at one figure on this list and everything else in your week gets away from you, look at that one. It is the number that decides whether you get to keep making decisions or whether the decisions start getting made for you. Most owners can tell me their revenue to the dollar and have no idea what this number is. Reverse that. Numbers without a rhythm are just trivia. Here's the cadence that makes this work. Same day, same time, every week, 20 minutes, standing if you can, one page, same format, arriving before the meeting, not built during it. Every number has one name attached to it. Consults booked belongs to the front desk lead. Conversion belongs to the clinical lead. AR belongs to whoever owns billing. Capacity belongs to whoever owns the schedule. 2 owners means 0 owners. The meeting has exactly 3 parts. Here are the numbers, here is what is off, and here is who is fixing it by when. No discussion of anything that is on target. You are not reviewing performance. You are finding the one thing that moved and deciding what to do about it. Now let me tell you what to leave off the page, because a bad scorecard is worse than none. Leave off social media followers. Leave off website visits. Leave off total patient count in the database. Leave off anything you would not change a decision over. That is the test for every metric. If this number were 20% worse next week, what would I do differently on Monday? If you do not have an answer, take it off the page. It is costing you attention, which at $2 million is the scarcest resource you have. 5 numbers you actually act on will beat 40 numbers you glance at every single time. Resist the dashboard. A dashboard is a place where metrics go to be ignored beautifully. The most common failure I see is not a missing number. It is a number with no decision rule attached. The scorecard gets built, it goes green and red every week, everyone looks at it and nothing changes. Fix that by writing the rule down in advance before the number moves. If consults drop 2 weeks in a row, we audit the phones and the follow-up sequence that week. If AR days cross our line, billing brings a denial report to the next meeting. If capacity used falls below our threshold, we pause new ad spend and fix the schedule first. Decide the response while you are calm, not while you are worried. That is the difference between a practice that measures and a practice that manages. So here is what to do this week. Do not build the whole system. Pick the 2 numbers you genuinely cannot answer today off the top of your head and find out where they live. Somebody in your practice already has them or can get them in an afternoon. Put them on one page, attach one name to each, then run the 20-minute meeting next week and again the week after. That is the whole thing. If you want an outside read on which numbers your practice is actually missing, I built a free AI audit. Go to practicescale.ai, run it, and you will get a breakdown across mindset, marketing, management, and money. It is free, and there is no sales call. 2 numbers, 1 page, 1 meeting. That is week 1, and it is enough.